Hello guys, in today's tutorial we are going to be discussing about the introduction to Microsoft Word for beginners. Now if you're actually a beginner and you're new to Microsoft Word, or this is actually your first time hearing of Microsoft Word, or it could be you want to learn or have an in-depth knowledge about the introduction to Microsoft Word, or maybe be it you really want to just advance your skill in Microsoft Word, this tutorial is actually for all of you. So alright, so all you just have to do is to follow me to the end of this video and you are going to really enjoy this tutorial. Alright, so in this tutorial we will be discussing about Microsoft Word, like I said. Alright, so this is my Microsoft Word right here. All I have to do now is to open my Microsoft Word. So if you're not having Microsoft Word, you can actually use it online by just going to microsoftoffice.com. Then you have to sign in and then you can use Microsoft Word for there. So this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be opening this. Now, how do I open it? Just double tap on it and it opens. All right. So I'm using Microsoft Word 2019. So if there is any one of you that is not actually having Microsoft Word that is maybe 2019, you can actually drop it in the comment section saying you need Microsoft Word 2019, and I'm going to show you how to install it on your laptop. And all right, so when this actually opens, this is now how our Microsoft Word is going to be looking like. All right, so on this part here are where we have some of this, which is the home, the new, and the open. Now this home is actually the home page for our Microsoft Word. This is our home page. All of this you see here is our home page in Microsoft Word. And in the home page, we have the new, we have the recent, we have the pinned. Now I'm going to explain what all of this actually means. Now over to the new here, if I should click on the new, it's actually going to be opening a blank or template document for us on Microsoft Word. So it's actually possible for us to open a blank document or for us to open a template that we can use in Microsoft Word. Then the last one here is the open. Now what this open means is for us to be able to open a document we've actually saved. Now if I click on open, it brings us here. Then I can simply come to my browse or this PC or even my OneDrive. The OneDrive, if you look at this, it's actually an Outlook account, learn digital skills at outlook.com. So that is to say, I'm signed into Microsoft Office. That is why you're seeing this here. So for you to be able to sign into Microsoft Office, you can simply create an Outlook account, or if you already have one, then you just come to your Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office and then you can be able to sign in. So this is actually now going to help you when you are using Microsoft Word online or Microsoft Office online. Then you can use this same Outlook account to log in or sign in. All right, the next is the PC. Now we can open a file from this PC by just clicking on this PC, and then we can scroll from here and look for whichever file we want to open using this. All right, now this browse is going to be opening this box, dialog box here, where we can either select our document from inside our files. All right, so maybe I saved it in the document here. I can go straight to my document and then I scroll down here and look for my Microsoft file or document, and then I can open it. All right, so I'm not going to be opening any yet because we are going to be working with a new document. All right, so this is just how we can actually open. So different methods in which we can open our Microsoft document. Now lastly, there's one other way we can actually open is by it you just go straight to your files. Where you have your files, when you get your file, all you have to do is to just double click on it and then it opens it. All right, so that is how we can open a file in Microsoft Word. Okay, so now coming here, we have documents and we have folders. Now these documents are all the documents we've created in Microsoft Word and we saved. It's very, very important for you to save in Microsoft Word. So if you've opened a document and then you save, maybe when you're done with your document or done typing, you save it, it's actually going to be added here. So do not forget, you can only find a document you've saved here. Now over to the folders. The folders you find here are folders that are having our documents or folders that we can find in our files when you come over here. Okay, Now when I move to documents, some of these folders here, you'll be finding them right here. So there are so many of them. All right. So that is concerning our folder. Now, if I should actually hover on each of these, maybe the folder or even that of the document, if I should hover on any of these, you see this pin icon. Now, this pin icon is for us to actually pin any of these documents for us to be able to pin it. Now, let me move over to my home. You see the pin here, and you see recent. Now, recent is documents you created recently, or this now is the last document I created on Microsoft Word. So we also have the pinned. Now, the pinned, any document I actually pin, it will be at the top. Now, even if I should create a new document, it's not going to be at the top of it. Instead, it's going to be underneath it. Now, we are going to see how that can work for us. So I'll just click on this pin. It has been pinned. See this? Now, look at this, pinned. If I move over to my pin now, you see this, it has been pinned to the top. So back to my recent. So if I should actually create a new document and save it, it's not going to be at the top of it. Instead, it's going to be underneath this one, which is going to be on top of this file here. So that is for the pin. For us to unpin, you just click on it and then you can unpin it. All right. So on the home, we have the blank documents and the rest of these templates. Now, all of these templates are templates we can actually use. We have so many templates. All you have to do is to click on more templates and then you find many of them. We have from blog posts to essential reports to resumes to letters and so many of them. All right, so all of these are actually templates. You can actually go through all of them. Just pause the video and check out on all the templates. All right, so we are going to be clicking on a blank document for us to open a new document. So we are going to be clicking on blank documents. We are not going to be using any of these templates. So I'll just click on blank documents and then it opens. Now, when it opens, we have different layers here in our Microsoft Word. We have from quick access down to the tabs, down to ribbon and groups. Then we have our document. Now, I'm going to explain what all of these are one after the other. Now, the first at the top here, you see this is, we call this quick access. Now, what do I mean by quick access? Now, quick access are actually icons you can easily select. Now, let's take for instance, we want to use any of these two and it is actually hidden or somewhere we have to check and check before we find it. We can simply add it to our quick access. Now, this is how we add to quick access. So let's say for instance, we want to add this to our quick access. All you have to do is to right click on the keyboard, or if you're using the mouse, you can right click and then you see add to quick access toolbar. If I click on it, you see this here, it has been added. If I want to remove this, I right click on it and then I see remove from quick access toolbar. I click on it and it has been removed. So let's say I want to remove this one too. All I have to do is right click, remove from quick access toolbar, and it has been removed. So this is how we can add and remove from our quick access toolbar. Now let's see how we can actually use the tab. All right, before we continue, if you're actually enjoying this video, hit this subscribe button and let's continue. All right, so moving over to the tabs, we have all of these tabs here, from the file, the home, the insert, draw, design, to the rest of all of these tabs. Now, whichever tab I actually click on, it's going to be giving us a new look. Now, if I should click on this draw, you see this here, it changed this. So if I should click on design, it changed this. So whichever tab I click on, it actually changes this part. So now what is this part actually called? This is what we call the ribbon. So whichever tab I click on, I will get a ribbon. Good. All right. So how about inside here? Now, if you look at each of these, you see that they are all grouped together. Now, if you're looking at this, see it's grouped. This line actually separates this group from this group. And each of these are all called groups. They are all called groups. And each of these group has a name. Now look at this part, it's grouped. This one is also grouped. This is also grouped, and the rest of it. So this group, what is it actually called? This is called the clipboard group. We also have that of the font group. We also have that of the paragraph group. We have the styles, the editing, the add-ins. All right. So now I'm moving over to my draw. Now, this particular group, what is it called? I want you guys to drop it in the comment section. This group, what is it called? So just pause the video, drop it in the comment section, and continue the video. If I should move to my inserts, we have the pages, the tables, and the rest of it. So each of these tabs, they all have their groups. They are all named. So we're still on the home tab. Now, the home tab, we've seen that we actually have a ribbon, and in that ribbon we have groups. Now in that group we have different tools. Now looking at the clipboard group first, you have the tools which starts from the paste down to the cuts down to the copy and this format painter. So all of these are different tools that one can actually use in a document. Okay, so I'm going to briefly explain most of these and how we can use this. So just keep watching this tutorial as we proceed. Now on this other hand, we have this, which is our document. This document here is where we can actually have our typing, some of our formatting, and the rest of it. Okay, so now let's say for instance I want to be having in some text. All I have to do is to just come here and type in YouTube, for instance. Good, I can actually type this in here. So if I want to now maybe make it bold or remove this underline, actually underline or remove this, all I have to do is to highlight it. First, you need to highlight, very, very important. You need to highlight first, and then you come to any of these tools and select it. Now, let's say this underline, I click on this, and then it has been removed. Look at it here. If I want to make it bold, this is to actually make bold, and this is to make it italic. Now, if you look at most of these groups here, you find this underneath most of them. Look at it here again. This is it here again, underneath all of them. So this is actually an extension, because all of the tools we're having in each group cannot contain that particular group. That is why we're having this extension. Now, if you look over to the add-ins group here, it is not having it because this is just what they're having in the add-ins group. But looking at the fonts or the clipboard, you will find all of that there. So if I should click on this, for instance, I'll get a dialog box. Now this is it. So these are some of the options I can actually use in formatting this text or any text of your choice. Now from here we have the fonts, we have the font style, the font size, also the complex scripts, the font style, the size, down to the color, and some of the effects. So whichever of these we select, we are going to get the preview right down here. So after getting the preview, we can actually set it as default. Now setting it as default is anytime you are typing, it's going to be in that same way. Good. So we are going to see, let's see that now. So let's say I want to be changing this fonts. All right. So look at it. This is the preview. So I want to make it bold. Okay, let me leave the size at 11. So now this is a preview. So let's say I want to set it as default. I'll just click on this document only, or all document based on the normal template. So I'm going to just use it for this document. Okay, see this here. So if I should come down here now, start typing, whatever I'm typing is going to be on that same kind of text or effects we used, because I set it as default. So what are we actually not talking about? We are not talking about this extension. So each of these tools we find here, to get more of them, you just have to click on this extension down there. All right, so those are just concerning the extensions. All right, so if you come over to this part here down here, you find some other things here. Now looking at this first one here is page 1 of 1. This is because we're having just one page here. Now let's take for instance we're having another page and we move over to that next page. So how can we now create a new page? It's very important to know that. You come over to your insert. Now from the name insert, it's actually bringing in, for you to bring in something. So it could actually be a picture, a shape, or whatsoever. So now what we want to be inserting is a new page. All right, so I'll click on blank page. Good, and it creates this. Now this is the blank page. This is my page 1 and this is my page 2. Now let me move over to my page 1. This is the page 1. Now if you come here, you see this page 1 of 2. That is, I am on my first page out of 2 pages. Now if I should move over to my page 2 and I click on it, I am on page 2 of 2 pages. So I can have up to 100 pages, and I can actually be on my page 50 out of the 100, and you will find it here. All right. So this is the number of words we're having on Microsoft Word. So sometimes you can actually be having something like, maybe it could be an assignment in school or something at work or whatsoever, and they'll be like, okay, I need 300 words. In 300 words, mention this, reply this, or any of that. So there's no need for you to start counting the words one after the other. Microsoft Word is already doing the counting for you. All you have to do is to look down here and you find the number of words. This other one is the characters, the number of characters we're having. All right, so moving over to this other hand here, this is the zoom in and the zoom out. So if I want to zoom out, I'll just move it over to this one. If I want to zoom in, I move it this other way. Move it this way or this other way. That is how I can zoom in or zoom out. So when you zoom out, you get to an extent where you'll be looking at 2 pages at the same time. But if I should actually zoom in, I'll get to a stage where I'll just be having just a single page. So at times I just prefer to use 2 pages. So this is it here. I'm having 2 pages. All right, so now let's go back to our home. So we've come to understand that the ribbon, we have different groups, and this first one is the clipboard group. Now what is actually the clipboard group? For you to be able to copy, to paste, and to cut. Now let's take, for instance, we want to copy. The shortcut to copy is Ctrl+C. So I'm just going to have something here. Okay, let me increase it. I'll highlight first if I wish to increase it. After highlighting, I come over here. Now this A here is to increase, while this is to reduce, or I can choose to use a font size. I'll click here and select whichever font size. So don't take it that it is actually stopping at 72. No, I can even have up to 100. See this, 100. I can even have down to 200. So it doesn't stop there. It's just that they don't want to be having it listed down to infinity over here. So they can just stop here and you can type in the number you wish to use here. So this is to increase, while this is to reduce. All right, so we want to see how we can copy. Ctrl+C is to copy. Then whenever I come down here, Ctrl+V is to paste. So this is how we can copy and paste. So how can we now cut? Highlight it. Ctrl+X is to cut. Ctrl+V, you can still paste. So it's possible for you to cut out something and go somewhere else and paste it. Good. All right. So over to the font. This font is where you can increase your font, reduce, clear formats, change the font style, which is this here, the size, make it bold, italic, strike through. Also the subscript and the superscript, and some text effects down to the text highlight color and your text color. So this is all basically concerning the fonts. So this, you find it in the font group. So if you like to learn more about the text formatting, which is concerning the font group, which is the text formatting, all you have to do is to click on this video right up here. So tap on that video and you are going to understand how you can use the text formatting. So over to this now is the paragraph formatting. So under the paragraph formatting is where you get maybe your bullet points or your lists, maybe if you want to list, or even that of center align, left align, right align, or full justify. You get that all here. Now we have the indents to go in and also to go out. We have the paragraph. This is the paragraph right here. So now the paragraph is actually going to be giving you any place you are having paragraph in your document. This paragraph icon is going to show you if I should just click on it. All right. So then this is what we call the shading. Now, let me just quickly show you how the shading works. You might actually be wondering, I mentioned highlight color and I'm also mentioning shading color. Now this shading, this is how it works. Let me just quickly do that. This is shading. Now shading, this is just how it works from the beginning down to the end. Now let's say we want to use the highlight color on this. I'll come to the highlight color and I click. Now can you actually spot the difference? Now this particular one, which is the highlight color, it is just highlighting that particular text you highlighted. but this is actually going to be highlighted from the beginning part of the paper down to the end of it, but it's going to just be on the particular part you highlighted. All right, so that is concerning the shading. All right, so I'm just going to clear all of this. First, I need to highlight it. After highlighting it, this is to clear all formatting. I'll click on this, it clears everything. Now, moving over to this is what we call borders. We call this the borders. Now, how can we make use of the borders? If we want to use a border now, for instance, or we want to have, that is if we want to have a line. Now, if I click on this, we have bottom border, we have top border, we have left, right border, no border, all border, outside border, and the rest of it. Now, let's take, for instance, I selected left border. I'll click on left border. Now, you see this particular one here I highlighted, left border. Okay, so now let me change it now to all border, all borders. You see this, it is now round, all borders. I can even decide to remove it by clicking on no border, and then it removes it. So this is just concerning the paragraph formatting. So if you like to also learn more about this paragraph formatting, do well to hit this video right up here. Okay, now over to the styles. Now these styles we're having different styles here. Now if you remember, when we actually set this as default for this particular document, these are the different styles we find here. So this actually corrected it to this, which is now being the normal style. So for us to get all our styles we want to use, first, like I said, always highlight, then we'll come over here, you click on this, we get different styles here. So we can decide to use whichever style, or we can create our own style. So creating your own style, you just tap on it. This is the name of your style, and this is the paragraph style preview. So you just click on your modify, and then you can go ahead from there. From there, you'll be able to make it bold, change the text, give it the color, and whichever. So when you're done with that, it's going to be added to the styles. So looking at this, there are different styles we can actually use right here. All right, so we have that of the editing and the add-ins. Now, concerning this editing, if we want to find something, now let's take for instance, I'm having a document here. So let's say I'm having good. Now, let's say we want to now make use of the find. Now, definitely the find, what it actually means is for you to find a particular word that was used in our document. Let's say we're having a document of about 7,000 words. So for us to be able to find it, a particular or all of that text. Now what I mean in all of the text is, let's say for instance we're looking for joy. So I'll come over to my find. I can decide to find, I can decide to advanced find, or even go to. So I'll just click on find. Okay, now I'll be looking for joy. Now when I hit my enter, if I come over to my document, I'll find the joy here. You see this, it has been highlighted. So this is how we can actually find. Maybe for instance, we're having a text that we are looking for. Maybe we want to delete it or something. We can then find that particular word in our document. All right, so we have down to the replace. So the replace is for us to find and replace it. Just as we found this joy, then if we want to replace it, we can then replace it with something else by using this replace. Then the select is for us to be able to select a text or object in our document. Okay, now looking at these add-ins, some of you might actually be wondering what is add-ins. Okay, now I'm going to be explaining this. Now, add-ins is just like a plugin. You have to be connected to the internet first. So when you are connected to the internet, you can now make use of your add-ins. Now the add-ins, for instance, you might be wondering, how can we add emoji in Microsoft Word? We can use that. We can do that using add-ins because it is like a plugin. So if you want to learn how you can do that by adding emojis in your Microsoft, you can also do well to hit this video right up there. That video is going to take you through how you can understand this. So I've mentioned about maybe 3 videos now you can actually watch. So maybe when you're done with this, then you can go back and check for it. I have it. It is there on my channel. You can check for it there and then enjoy the tutorial. All right, so if you're also enjoying this tutorial, like I said, keep hitting the subscribe button. Also keep turning on the notification icon. For those that haven't, turn it on, and let's proceed. So this is just basically how we can understand the tab here in our document. This tab, the home tab, this is just basically how we can understand it in our document. All right, so now we also have that of the insert. This is for us to be able to insert pages or tables, even down to pictures, shapes, icons, charts, link, comments, header and footer, and the rest of that. So this is just for us to be able to insert. So when you hear the word insert, which is actually to bring in, so you just know that, oh, maybe you're trying to bring in maybe a cover page or even that of a picture, then you just know that definitely it's coming from the insert. Then all you have to do is to go over to your insert, and then you can be able to insert whatever you want to insert. All right. So now over to the draw tab. Now this draw tab is for you to be able to draw using your pens, and you can be able to erase it using this eraser right here. We also have that of the ruler. Format background. This format background is for you to be able to format your background. We have none. These are grid lines. So if you want to add this to your document, you can select any of this, but I'm not going to be adding it. I don't really need it. All right, so then we have that of the design, which is on the design tab. On the design tab, we have what we call the themes. Now these are themes. All of these are themes we can actually use, mostly for text on Microsoft Word. So whichever of these we click on, then it's going to be added. First, remember you need to highlight before doing that. Then we have some document formatting. These are different document formatting. So they are quite different from these styles. We have the styles here, but this is document formatting. To format your whole document, this is it here. You can select any of these documents for you to use. We have that of the colors, the fonts, and if you move over to this, we have the watermark. Now, how can we actually use the watermark in Microsoft Word? You just click on this, and then you can be able to also edit your own watermark. Maybe you're trying to have a document that you do not want to share with anyone, maybe a private document. You can do that by coming here, and then over to this, you see custom watermark. Now you can do that from here. Tap on the custom watermark, you put in your own text, maybe your company's name or whichever name you want to use, you can put it there. But if you want to remove, you can come here and remove it. Or if you want to save selection to watermark gallery, you can add or save your watermark here. Maybe the one you've used and you want to save it, you can save it here for next time. Then we also have the page colors. Now looking at the page colors, we can give our page whichever color of our choice we wish to use. I actually know a little boy who was using black. All right, so all of these are different page colors, and you don't need to worry about this text here. Whichever I pick, it actually blends with it. So if I should go for black, it changes to white. So you can select any of the page color you want to use here. So I just prefer to use white. Even that of the page borders, you can select the colors or the style for your page borders. You can add a shadow, 3D, custom, box, or any of the styles here. You can use it for your page borders in your design tab under the page borders and your ribbon. Okay, so that is concerning the design. Then we have that of the layout. Now this layout has to do with our layouts here. This is our layout here. Now if you're looking at this, you see that whatever we're actually writing is starting from here. That is because of the margins we are using. So I can decide to use narrow. If I should select narrow, you see this, it now brings it closer to the end of this. So sometimes it's actually preferable to use this margin so you can have enough space instead of maybe having so many of it right here. Okay, that's for the margin. And then the orientation. Now over to the orientation is for us to be having a landscape or a portrait. So it's either we have a landscape or a portrait. Now, how about we want to be having both landscape and portraits? Maybe while we are having some text in a particular document or a particular sheet, then the next page we want to be having it as maybe a landscape or a portrait. Maybe quite the opposite of the one you're having previously. So this is what you have to do. First, remember I told you to insert a new page. You come here, click on blank page. Now it has inserted it. So let's say for instance I want to actually make this. This is actually portrait. I want to make it landscape, which is turning it the other way. Now I'll move over to my layout. So first, what I will need to do is to break. I need to break, which is what we call the section break. Now to this break here, I'll tap on break. You see all of this here. All of these are different breaks we can actually use. So what I'll be using is this next page break. I'll click on this and then I've broken it. So this and this are no longer linked together. Then I can come here and click on orientation landscape, and this is going to be as landscape. So if I want to now change this back to portrait, it's the same thing. I'll put my cursor here, I will break it, next page, and then I convert my orientation and set it as portrait. Now I'm having this. So I can decide to be having just this as my landscape in Microsoft Word. So this is just how we can use this, either the portrait or the landscape in Microsoft Word. Then we have the size, where you can size, and also the columns. Now these columns is, now if you take a look at maybe the newspaper, the way the newspaper is actually looking like, we're having two different text on a particular page. Now what do I mean by that? Let's say you're having a text like this. I'll come over to my columns now, and then I'll select two. I want to be having some text here and also another text here. So this is it. Let me just quickly type whatever. So if you're looking at this, I'm just typing anything here. Good. Now this is it. I'm having two columns right here. I can add the columns by coming here, select three columns. I'll be having three columns here. So this is just how these columns work. So anytime you see something like this on a document, it's not actually looking so weird. This is just the simple way you can do that using these columns. All right, so to the reference, now under the reference we have table of content, we have footnotes, we have research, captions, and all of this. So basically, more what the reference actually means is for you to actually reference. Maybe for instance, you want to insert a footnote to this. Now I'll highlight this particular one. I'll click on footnote, insert footnote. Now I can actually insert a footnote here. Now if you're looking at this now, you see this one right here. That means I've inserted a footnote on this. So when I share my document to someone and the person sees this, they are going to know that there is actually a footnote here. Then I can now insert whatever I want to insert concerning that footnote right here. So that is just concerning the reference. Okay, then to the mailings is for us to be able to maybe start mail merge. How can we use mail merge? Maybe you are trying to share this to someone else or to select recipients. So for us to be able to do that, we can just come over to the mailings, mostly for us to be able to share our documents with someone else. Then we have the review tab, which is going to check the thesaurus, the spelling or the grammar, and it's also going to track some changes and that of the language. Now we have the language, we have the translate for us to be able to translate. Maybe it's in a different language that we do not understand, we can then translate it. And we have track changes. Now this track changes, what it actually does is it keeps track of the changes that are being made. Now for instance, I'm going to select track changes and then I share my document with someone else. So whatever changes the persons make, when I get back the documents, I'm going to see all of those changes the person made, because this track changes is going to keep track of all the changes that has been made. Then maybe I could then maybe change it back to how it was, or then I can save it. We have the view tab. The view tab is for us to be able to use either the read mode, for us to zoom, for us to split, arrange, new window, and all of that. This is just concerning the view, basically for us to zoom, most importantly, for us to be able to zoom, and also the read mode especially. So how can we use the read mode? Just tap on this and then it brings this out for us to be able to read. So all you just have to do is to click on your side arrow key and then move to the next. So if you want to go back, click on the escape on your keyboard and then it takes it back to this. Then we have the help. The help is for us to be able to contact support from Microsoft Office, get a feedback, show training. So all of these are just help you can actually get from, or help that Microsoft Office can actually render. Okay, so now looking at this, you see, tell me what you want to do. Let's say, for instance, we want to insert a ruler. All I have to do is to come here and search for ruler. When I click on show ruler, this is it here. These are my rulers. That's inserted this. Okay, for us to be able to remove it, then you just search for this and then you click on it and then it's gone. So if I want to bring it back, I can come here and search. So this can actually help us to be able to search for whatever we want to use in Microsoft Word. All right, so now looking up here, you see this is showing here because I am signed into Microsoft Office. or into Microsoft Word. So for you to be able to do that, you'll be seeing the sign in icon here, so you can actually sign in. So if it's actually going to be difficult for you like this, all you have to do first, you can actually create an Outlook account, and then you come in here and sign in using the Outlook account. Let's say we want to actually save our documents. We are done with whatever we want to do on our document. We now want to save it. How can we do that? There are different ways of doing that. We have the Control S for us to be able to save. That is using the shortcut. We can also come here, clicking on this icon for us to save, or we come over to our file, then we'll find the save and also that of the save as. So now I'm going to be explaining the save and the save as. Now the save and the save as is we can actually use anyone when it's actually our first time of saving a document. So if it's our first time saving a document, maybe we've not saved the document before, then we can just use any of these. Click on any of it and it will still bring out a dialog box. Click on browse and then to still bring this out for us to be able to save. But if we've saved it before and we now want to save it again, maybe after doing some correction or some editing, if we want to save it again, you can simply click on your save. But if you click on the save as, it's going to still bring out that dialog box for you to put in a name or change the location. But then when I click on my save, it just saves it without bringing out or popping up that box for us to put in the location. So this is how we can use the save, and this is different between the save and the save as. Now if you should scroll down here, you'll find the print. It is actually possible for us to also print our document. Clicking on this print connects it to a printer for you to be able to print, and then you can print your document. We also have the share for us to also share our documents, and that of the export. So sometimes after doing some documents or getting out, or you're having a document, then maybe someone will be like, or your client, or either your boss, or whoever will actually be asking for a PDF file for the Microsoft Word document you are done with. Then you can actually export it. Now clicking on your exports, then you can create PDF or XPS document. So you just click on this and then you can actually export this as PDF. Good. So I'm just going to go back, and then when you're done with that, you are good to go with Microsoft Word. So these are just the basic on how you can understand Microsoft Word as a beginner. It is either your first time or you are trying to understand a particular thing about Microsoft Word. All right, guys. So this is just how we are going to be going about. So those of you that would like to learn more about Microsoft Word, maybe you would like to understand the text formatting. Now it is now time for you to hit this next video. So I'll be in the next video waiting for you. All right, see you guys in the next video.